Hello there. Today I want to tell you a story that you may find ironic. Cybersecurity is my day job, but a few years ago I was hacked. I sent documents to my sister, which were caught by a phishing account and were used to make subscriptions, which is why when you send documents for something you should always watermark them. Very important. But you don't want to send your documents to whichever website that you don't fully trust, which is why today I have the pleasure to show you my good buddy, my friend, Watermark. Look at him. Look at how cute he looks. He's a little buddy, a little water buddy, ready to watermark your documents. The website is dead simple. Watermark your documents for free, accepted format PNG or JPEG. You choose a file. Let me choose, for example, my diploma from the School of Grug Academy that you can see here. Very important document to me. Diploma of the School Academy is really important. And I can maybe change the text that I want on it. So I say only for Grug. And maybe I want it to be larger. And this is black on white and black, so maybe I want to give it like blue shade with a red outline. Right, that's a nice watermark. The angle, maybe we can also play with that. Yeah, a bit more sparse. Alright. You see, and after, at the end, I have the download button. I click. Instantly, I have download your watermarked image. Click, I get a new download, as you can see here. I open it. Alright, we have downloaded a watermarked image. Obviously everything here is done with Datastar, and in this video I will show you a lot of cool stuff that I discovered making this website. Let's go! First, let's take a look at the backend code. We are still running Sonic, as you can see, so we start with from Sonic, import Sonic, and we are going to use exceptions later, so make sure to import them here. We are using the excellent Datastar SDK, from which we will use read signals, get the signals value on the page, Datastar respond, which is a Sonic specific stuff. Very handy, very useful, and SSE generator as well. Finally, we are going to use the file response tip to send the file to download. So Sonic has a built-in function for that. Then we are going to use UID for the user ID. We are going to use base64 to decode the images. We are going to use asyncio, pathlib, very handy for path generation, and then we are going to use pillow. Pillow is a very common library in Python to process images, and from this import you already understand what we are going to do. We are going to provide like an editor. We are going to link every value of the editor to a signal and get them with read signals. And then we are going to use pillow to create the image in the backend and send it back to the user. We declare our application, we mount the static and photos folder, and we start with our first index.html root. Let's take a look at it. Very simple. Inside the head we just have main CSS, so some CSS. I'm going to use gold CSS that I mentioned in the previous video, some Datastar, and that's it. That's all you need to do to make it. Then a body, a main with an ID equals main, gives you a hint that we are going to morph that at some point. Home, I give it an ID to style it better, I make it full screen and center everything. I declare a photo signal. Then I put like my little icon, my title, watermark your documents for free, and the file input. How does the input work? This might be confusing at first. You are binding a signal to a file. Well, for uploading something, when you upload something, it is converted to base64 and you get a fat string that you can attach to a signal. There is not really a problem for the limit of the size that you can send, at least for an image. It's absolutely okay. And yeah, we bind that to photo, and then when it changes, I just send a post request. Before I explain this part, let me show it live to you. So the send route, which is here, doesn't need this because we are instead using Datastar response to create the response and send it. What we are going to do is first, as soon as we get the request, patch the home input to say processing file to inform the user that something is beginning to happen in the server. Then we read the signals and by a comment, for example, print signals here. We go back to the terminal, we upload a file, right, loaded my diploma, and you can see we have a fat wall of text, but it's really just the photo signal, which is a dictionary, attached to a dictionary, because you also get the names of the files that were provided. You can upload multiple files. I just didn't activate the option because it wasn't useful. You get the photo MIME type, so the type of file that it is, and everything that you see here is my diploma encoded in a special form, base64, so just lowercase and uppercase letters, numbers, and some special characters. You see that it is quite long, but it's absolutely not a problem to be encoded in the signal. See, my photo signal. Well, my photo signal is bound to this. The MIME types and the names are added by Datastar so that you get a better idea of what is happening. So yeah, we just get back this image, encoded this way. We perform then some basic checks, like check that there is a photo name, photo data, photo MIME type is correctly inside the PNG or JPEG. We take the data in base64, we use the base64 library to decode it. We verify that the length is not too big, so this is like 1000 on 1000, so 1 megabyte length maximum. If it's too big, no problem, we can just inform the user that his file was too large. So we take the button that was showing processing file and we added some more information to it. If everything is correct, we create a file name, which is just going to be the user ID cookie that I set up on everyone, thanks to this little function here. And we write it to the photos folder. And if we look, see here on the photos folder, we have the base64, so it's just like pure base64 stuff. I don't know if I can open it anyway. It's not readable by cursor, but whatever. I don't even store it as a PNG. I didn't figure out how to do that. It's not really the point here. And we write this data. You see that we can send that file if the conditions are not met, whatever, but at this point everything has run smoothly and we want to update the view. So we say, give me the new HTML that you want. Editor view, you're going to see we are going to give some new main stuff. File name, because obviously we want to specify in the HTML where to pick the image. And then just a simple response.send SSE patch the new HTML into the old one. Let's take a look at the HTML that we have before and after. I want to show it in the browser. So as you can see, it's quite responsive thanks to heavy use of the Gold CSS primitives. So we've seen that already, and go the file. Right, if you see maybe into the work, we are going to see the send request here. Yep. So you see the elements here that I wanted to patch. And then we have the main that was swapped with editor page. I make it a container, the header is right here. GG10 so that it's not squeezed on little quotes. Then we have the first section with like the editor and the document. The editor is just going to be some input data bind stuff. Input data bind text. Select data bind fonts.size. A little namespace signal here just for the sake of it. Data bind color, data bind outline, data bind rotation, whatever you see. And then we have like the document. The document you see here, I use the GZ class, so I want to stack some stuff on top of each other. And indeed, I'm going to stack the SVG with the text and the image. So that's like one of the use of this little JZ stuff. Display grid and everything inside it. Grid area 1.1. The SVG, how did I do it? You start with a small viewbox 005050. Refer to the other videos about SVG for basic details. We compute a signal that we want, text max. And text max will be just what we have in text, but repeated 10 times. If I write confidential, you see it repeat 10 times across. Data at inside font size equals font size, fill equals fill, and stroke equals stroke. So we use data at to set up the attributes on what we want, very useful for all of the SVG. Reserve aspect ratio, very classic SVG stuff. And you see that Datastar applied font size, fill, and stroke. And for example, change the font size from 2 pixels to 10 pixels. Reactively, thanks to the signals. Then we are going to put a lot of lines. They're all going to be the same. So let's use a definition. Definition here, we want to define something we call the watermark text. The text of it is going to be text max, what we created the signal for. And then we have data style rotate, because we don't want to rotate the SVG, we want to rotate every line individually. Datastar applies it to the style. So data style, which is something I didn't use before, but very, very handy function. And then once we define that, we are going to use it a lot to put different lines at different X and Y points. So yeah, the view is not really great, but you understand that we put at every y, every 10y, we put a new line, which is going to inherit the characteristic of the definition. In the CSS, you see that I used useful properties for the SVG, text anchor, middle, and transform origin center. So this is for the rotation to happen in the middle of the line. See that if I disable it, they are going to like rotate from their origin point. Maybe that's what that's not what we want. So this is useful for defining where the transformation should happen. The SVG text itself, no SVG, the SVG, important, put the Z index to 2 so that it's on top of everything else. Scale it with width and height. And stroke width, yeah, you can set that up in the editor, so set up in the CSS. Photos and index equals 1, and yeah, and the document you hide the overflow in case of, we don't really need it, you add a nice border, and alright. So that's the HTML that we want to have, ideally. In the backend, very easy, barely an inconvenience. If you have an ID, you just write editor view file name, return this stuff. Maybe I will, in my next video, stop doing it with f strings, but for prototyping, it's really not a problem, and I was used to explaining stuff like in the code and not leaving the editor, but maybe get ready for more HTPy inside the next videos. And you see file name, we give it from here. It's an information that the server knows. So we pass the source inside it. And then when I click the download button, two things to notice here. First, I give it an ID, the L button, remember it for later, and then data on click, on pointer down for speed. We want to post to the download route, this time excluding the photo signal. The photo signal is still inside the Datastar context. The user had the impression that he moved to another page, but in reality it was just an SSE swap. And so we already have the information of the photo signal. It can be quite long and we don't want to include it in every request. So I can use this nice filter signal here. There are a lot of square brackets because of the f string, but this is how you should write it. You see, you write your post request here, and then you can add some arguments, some little methods. So to filter signal, you can exclude some, you can include some. I want just to exclude the photo signal. Let's see what happens inside this download route after, inside the download route. Looks like a lot of code, but it's really easy, barely an inconvenience. We create the response object, we wait for all the signals. I will print them to you, but it's just all the signals that we have inside the store. Every signal gets sent. Underscore. The file name is just the user ID. Photo pass, so we want to say it is inside the photos folder. I won't speak too much about the create watermark image, but you understand that from the moment that we have all the information, just need to create the image. Let me show it really quick to you. So you can check the GitHub, of course. This code is open source, but you use this image and you use Peel. So image is from Peel, below, and then you add a new mask on the image with a lot of text that you want to cover the screen with, and then you return the name of the stuff and the file. Alright, this is not like, the details are not really important, and you watch closely, like the image that was downloaded was not 1:1 with what I put in, because I didn't really, like, I hacked this stuff and didn't care. Sometimes the text crop or whatever, but it's just for demo purposes and to show you how to work with signals and file uploads. Alright, before we move to the next, let's get back to this file upload. Into the index root, we've seen this set timeout, which is a bit weird, but basically, because the photo is quite long, it wasn't for the time to the signal to effectively change the data, and change wasn't triggered, so we had to wrap it inside an asynchronous behavior. From what I understood, the simple like set timeout function will create the async promise necessary for the change event to be registered. So we wait like 10 milliseconds, even one, I think, works. It worked in my tests, because it's just about waiting for the right promise. This is being discussed at the moment, might change or be patched, but if you are working with file inputs at the moment, this is a nice fix. We can also check for the length of the photo signal, so with something like photo length, something like that. If you also want to check that the photo signal is not empty, it can be quite good. But here I'm putting data on change, which is a common, the best event of the file input to use. Native JavaScript event, so I don't really care for empty signals, but this is something that might change. For you might try it in your applications if you find some problems with it. Well, Datastar is small enough to be able to quickly change some behavior and test everything, don't make everything ensure consistency, so it's only gonna get better. Once we have done our watermarked image, let's get back to business. We save it. So yeah, the image wasn't saved at this moment. Watermark is just like a bunch of pillow information, a pillow image, and we are going to save it now. Maybe it should have been better to save it before. I guess so. Don't do that in the root, maybe. And we have a new download URL, and then send So download URL is just like download file with the file name, so watermark, then user ID. This is how we created the download file name inside this function here. And so you have the text, download your image, it's just a link. Alright, so we have download button, so it's a button with a link inside it. The reference is just download /file/ the name of the file, and we're going to use that, we're going to see that, but what's important is that download attribute that you can set on A tags, so default HTML attributes, just to signify to the browser that the result of this link will be downloaded. Simple as that. Download your watermark image, and when accessing to this, and this is where we are going to use our famous file from Sanic, app.get download file name, if request cookie inside file name, so this is like basic, very basic stuff, so that no one can just scrap every download /file stuff and get the images of everyone, because the name of the file contains the user ID. Really basic tech, make sure that only him can download it. Not release checker, once again, this is like a proof of concept, just toy applications that I'm creating, but it's a start. We define the MIME type, the file path and stuff like that, and then we just have to use return await file, so the Sanic function with the file path. File name, MIME type. And this is where we use exceptions, so Sanic has all the most common HTTP codes built inside it, and you see if you want to have like raise a forbidden page with Sanic, at what moment you can use that. So this is something I can show live. By this, I open in a new private window which won't have the nice cookie, and yeah, so you see we have the unauthorized stuff from Sanic here, so thanks to Sanic exceptions. Lastly, you might wonder how to do the auto download effect. We are using Datastar, we have an SSE stream. I just comment these 2 lines to make it. You say, okay, we have an open stream. Once you've sent the button, wait for 3 seconds, and then send the script to say, click yourself. Alright, let me show you the behavior live with the network view. So I pick my file, alright, I click download, it's supposed to download here, and after 3 seconds, up, see the script which made the file download itself. So this is it, this is how I made this watermark app in Datastar. As you see, it was very easy working with file inputs. Creating a little editor was barely an inconvenience. Thanks to Signal and ACC, we have this really nice app, and I wanted to conclude the video saying 2 things. The first one, I am going to put it on the main website, leg.ovh. I haven't done it yet, but it's going to be there. There is a file input on the website, and I will be going to vacations for a few weeks, so please do not upload much crazy stuff on it. I count on you. Don't break my server, because there are other cool stuff on here, and you see the security of this app is not perfect, but if you want to instead, filmed my vacations, a better camera, whatever, do not hesitate to join the happy supporters by giving to the channel. But yeah, first thing, I will put it inside the main website, don't worry, so you can see what was done. Of course, the source code will be in the description, as always. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is that this project is badly done and completely moronic. What do I mean by that? Mark looks awesome and I'm very proud of it, but maybe it was time for him to say, don't overcomplicate it. Why? Because you can bind a file encoded in base64 to a signal. And from the moment that you can bind it to a signal, the correct approach here, I think, and after building all this stuff, so I didn't do it, would have been to create a web component. Let me give you an example. I asked Claude to one-shot me something. Let me show you the discussion I have with him. You see that creating a web component that takes just data as a big base64 string and display it is absolutely not a problem. It can make even SVG, so PNG, JPEG wouldn't be a problem, I'm sure of that. Maybe PDFs can work as well. My app doesn't support PDF for the moment because my goal was finishing it first. But yeah, if you make a web component, you can bind it to the signal. You can, instead of doing like an SVG overlay, getting every parameter and reconstructing it on the backend, you can put that behavior inside the web component, and the web component sends back the server the base64 file, or doesn't even send it back. I mean, this can all be local and just triggers a download action. What I mean is that this project maybe, I think, could have been a GitHub page. But it's funny because, as you guess from the behavior of this app, near the first SSE to go to the editor could be just like a regular link, just because you want to have the image doesn't mean that you can send it later with Datastar and a data download and establish a connection if you're more into putting live stuff into your images, for example. But the way I approached it, I wanted to make this website. I knew what I had in mind, creating a watermarking app. And you see from this behavior, download your watermarked image. There are like tons and tons and dozens of different websites that are more or less this stuff. You know, like YouTube to MP3, remove the background of your image, upscale your image, convert your image from PNG to JPEG. There are like dozens of these services, and they all have, like, I can pick a link at random, some I didn't even visit it, but they all have the same behavior. You see, put a link, you can convert, Datastar, you put it on convert, you have the Cloudflare, you have the whatever, you have the progress bar. I mean, it's just how we imagine the web based on, see, get MP3 links, on it downloads. It's how we imagine the web and what we want to build based on what it already is. And at the end of the project, I was like, maybe it's not like I overcomplicated it. try to keep it fairly simple, but I didn't leverage Datastar functionalities enough, and I went into the old patterns instead of embracing, Web 4.0, as we may call it one day. But I think it was a nice experience to make, working with files. I hope this video showed you that it's really easy as well. Try to make projects before understanding how you fell into bad patterns or stuff that can be made much simpler to be, like enlightened. Join the cult in the Discord if you want some help. I'll be on vacations, as I said, so no new videos for like 3 weeks minimum. I have no banked project yet, but join the Discord to see all the cool stuff people are building with Datastar. I hope everyone is fine. I hope you have nice vacations as well, or nice ones. See you in a month. The YouTube algorithm remembers me. It doesn't subscribe to the channel. And goodbye.